I remember sitting at my desk, trying to shake off the discomfort, but my vision started to blur. I reached for my phone to call Mike, but my fingers felt numb. Then, without warning, I collapsed. The next thing I knew, I was on the floor, surrounded by panicked voices. Someone was shouting for help, and I could hear the distant wail of an ambulance siren. My body was failing me. I tried to speak, but no words came out. I felt like I was drowning in my own breath, gasping for air that wouldn't come. My heart pounded in my chest like a drum, and I could feel the cold floor beneath me. But it was as if I was watching everything from a distance. Then, everything went still. I remember the moment my soul separated from my body with unsettling clarity. It was like being pulled upward, out of myself, as if a string had been cut and I was floating free. I looked down and saw my lifeless body lying on the clinic floor, surrounded by people trying desperately to help me. I wanted to call out, to tell them I was still there, but I couldn't. I was weightless, untethered, and utterly confused. This wasn't supposed to be happening. I was just a regular person, a mother, a wife, a daughter. I wasn't ready to leave. But something inside me whispered that this was only the beginning. As I hovered above my lifeless body, a strange mix of emotions surged through me. Peace, confusion, and an overwhelming sense of detachment. I could see the nurses and doctors scrambling around me, their faces filled with panic, but I felt none of the fear they were experiencing. It was like watching a scene unfold in a movie, except I was both the audience and the main character. I could hear the distant beeping of machines, the frantic voices of the medical staff, but everything felt muffled, distant. I tried to speak, to let them know I was still there, but no sound came out. My body was motionless, pale, and lifeless on the cold clinic floor, and yet I was still me, aware, thinking, feeling. Then something pulled me. It wasn't a physical force, but an undeniable energy drawing me upward, away from the chaos below. I didn't resist, I couldn't. It was as if an unseen current was carrying me forward, and I had no control over where I was going. As I moved higher, the world around me changed. The clinic, the people, the noise, it all faded into the background. Instead, I was surrounded by a soft glow, a light that wasn't blinding but warm and comforting. It wrapped around me like a gentle embrace, and for the first time since my body gave out, I felt a sense of calm. But even in that peace, there was confusion. I wasn't afraid, but I didn't understand what was happening. Was this death? Was I dreaming? I tried to make sense of it all, but my mind couldn't grasp the reality of what I was experiencing. Then I noticed something ahead, a tunnel of light. It was beautiful, almost hypnotic in its radiance. It pulsed gently, beckoning me forward. I felt drawn to it, like a magnet pulling me toward something unknown. And yet, deep in my gut, a small voice whispered, "Wait." As I drifted closer to the tunnel, a strange sensation washed over me, something between awe and unease. The light was breathtaking, unlike anything I had ever seen before. It wasn't just bright. It was alive, pulsing with a warmth that felt both inviting and overwhelming. Every inch of my being was drawn toward it, as if it held the answer to every question I had ever had. But then something shifted. The closer I got, the more I felt an odd tension in the air. It was like standing on the edge of something beautiful but dangerous, like walking toward a fire that felt warm at first but threatened to consume me. The tunnel was mesmerizing, but beneath its brilliance, I sensed something else, something that didn't feel quite right. I had heard stories about near-death experiences, about people seeing tunnels of light and feeling an intense sense of peace before returning to their bodies. Some called it a gateway to heaven, others a trick of the mind. But now, standing on the threshold of it myself, I realized that not everything that shines is good. The warmth that had first comforted me now felt almost too intense, like it was trying to pull me in, to take me somewhere I wasn't meant to go. I could feel my soul being drawn forward, as if I had no choice, but deep in my gut, a whisper of warning stirred. I didn't know what to do. My instinct was to move toward the light, to surrender to its pull, but something deeper, something I couldn't explain, told me to pause. Then, a thought broke through the haze. Remember the truth. It wasn't a voice, not exactly. It was more like a memory surfacing, a quiet reminder buried beneath the chaos. I had spent years going through the motions of faith, but now, in this moment, something inside me stirred. I remembered the times I had prayed, the moments I had felt a presence greater than myself. I remembered the stories of deception, of how even light could be used to lead people astray. And then, as if in response to my realization, the tunnel began to change. As I stood before the tunnel, the light flickered, and I noticed a shift in its essence. The radiant glow began to morph, revealing a second source of illumination. A soft, gentle light that contrasted sharply with the blinding brilliance of the tunnel. This new light was different. It emanated a warmth that felt like a mother's embrace, comforting yet powerful. It didn't pull me in aggressively. Instead, it welcomed me with open arms, inviting me to draw closer without the urgency that the tunnel demanded. Caught in this moment of duality, I felt a tug of war within my spirit. The tunnel's light was alluring, promising peace and escape, yet it felt hollow, like a mirage shimmering in the desert heat. It was seductive, but something deep within me recognized the danger it posed. The softer light, on the other hand, resonated with a sense of truth and safety, as if it held the very essence of love and purpose. As I grappled with this internal conflict, a voice echoed in my mind, a gentle reminder that not all light is created equal. I recalled the teachings I had heard throughout my life, the wisdom that spoke of discernment, and the importance of seeking truth in a world filled with deception. In that moment, I understood that the tunnel was not just a pathway to peace. It was a trap, a lure designed to steal my soul away from the genuine light that awaited me. With every heartbeat, the two lights battled for my attention, each vying for my allegiance. The tunnel pulsed with an intensity that threatened to overwhelm me, while the softer light shimmered with a quiet strength that grounded me. I felt the weight of the choice before me, and the realization struck me like a thunderclap. I had to choose wisely. This was not merely a decision about where to go. It was a decision about who I was and what I believed. In that pivotal moment, I closed my eyes, focusing on the gentle light that enveloped me. I reached out to it, allowing its warmth to seep into my being, and as I did, a profound clarity washed over me. This was the light of truth, the light that would guide me back to life, and I knew I had to follow it. The tunnel, with all its allure, was not my destiny. It was a deception, a false promise that would lead me astray. With renewed determination, I turned away from the tunnel and stepped toward the soft light, feeling its embrace envelop me like a warm blanket on a cold night. In that instant, I understood that my journey was far from over. It was just beginning, and I was ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. As I stepped toward the soft, radiant light, a profound stillness settled over me. The air around me felt different, thicker, charged with something I couldn't quite describe. It wasn't fear or uncertainty anymore. It was reverence. I had turned away from the tunnel, resisting its pull, and now, I was standing in the presence of something far greater than I had ever known. The light wasn't just light. It was a presence. It surrounded me, filling every part of my being with a warmth that went beyond physical sensation. It was love, pure and unfiltered, wrapping around my soul like a long-lost embrace. I didn't need to see it to know it was real. I could feel it in the depths of my spirit, in the quietest corners of my heart. Then he was there. I can't describe his appearance in human terms because he wasn't bound by form. He was more than a figure, more than a face. He was everything: truth, grace, mercy, and power all at once. And yet, there was no need for words between us. He didn't speak, but I understood everything he was showing me. Suddenly, flashes of my life played out before me. Not just memories, but moments of significance I had long forgotten or chosen to ignore. I saw the times I had turned away from him, the moments I had doubted his presence in my life. I saw the distractions that had pulled me away from my purpose, the choices that had led me down paths of confusion and spiritual fatigue. But he didn't condemn me. He simply showed me. He revealed the beauty of who I was meant to be, the calling I had been given before I was even born. I saw how easily I had been led astray by things that felt good in the moment, but were not aligned with the truth. I saw how the enemy had whispered lies into my heart, convincing me that happiness could be found in fleeting pleasures and empty distractions. And then he showed me something else, something terrifying. I saw others, souls like mine, being drawn toward the very same tunnel of light I had nearly entered. I saw how they were deceived, how they were lured in by something that felt like peace, but led them away from the true light. I saw how the enemy could mimic divinity, how he could twist something holy into a trap that ensnared countless souls. A deep urgency settled in my chest. I needed to warn them. I needed to go back. I looked at him, this presence of pure love and truth, and I knew he was giving me a choice. I could stay here, in this place of peace and clarity, or I could return, carrying the message I had just received. Without hesitation, I chose to go back. As I stood in that radiant presence, a deep understanding settled over me. This was not just a personal revelation. It was a message meant for others. I saw, with painful clarity, how many people were being drawn toward the same illusion I had nearly entered. The tunnel of light, the deceptive warmth, the promise of peace. It was all a trap, carefully designed to lead souls away from the truth. I saw people chasing after experiences that felt divine but weren't. I saw how the enemy could mimic the presence of something holy, making it feel real, making it feel safe, when in reality, it was a deception meant to steal their destinies. I saw how easy it was to be drawn in by something that felt good, something that promised peace without the need for truth. Then a voice, not a sound but a knowing, whispered through my soul, "Discernment is a gift. Many will follow what feels right, but few will seek what is true." That truth struck me like a thunderclap. I had spent so much of my life going through the motions, searching for spiritual fulfillment without truly understanding what I was seeking. I had been distracted by the noise of the world, by the false promises of comfort and ease. And now, standing in the presence of the one who was truly light, I realized how many others were doing the same. I saw people chasing after spiritual highs, seeking signs and wonders without testing their source. I saw how the enemy could use even the smallest desires, comfort, validation, escape, to pull people away from the real truth. He didn't need to be obvious. He just needed to be convincing. Then the urgency returned. I had to go back. I had to warn others. I looked at the presence before me, and I knew he was giving me permission to return. I wasn't meant to stay here, not yet. My time wasn't over. I had a mission now, to share what I had seen, to help others understand that not everything that shines is from God. And then, just like that, I was pulled back. The moment I made the decision to return, a rush of energy surged through me, and I felt myself being pulled back toward my body,